Today I wanted to talk a little bit about these Soundcore Liberty 4 Pro earbuds that just came out quite recently. And I might compare them briefly against the Soundcore A40 earbuds that have been out for maybe a couple of years now, actually. And I'll just give some of my thoughts and opinions on these. So to start off right off the bat, I think one of the first things you can see with this case is that it's quite big, especially if you compare it to something like the A40 earbuds. It's about a similar width, but it's almost double the height, and it's kind of just as thick as well. So it's definitely a big case, right? If you've seen any of my other recent videos, I've talked a lot about other earbuds and given a lot of different reviews, and actually the case quality is an important attribute and deciding factor for me, because the case is something that you hold in your hand every single day, you put in your pocket every single day. So it's a big part of the overall experience of the earbuds that you have, even though it might seem like a minor thing up front. So I care about the case quality and the case ergonomics. And right off the bat, this case is too big, right? If I put this in my pocket, it just takes twice the amount of space as the A40. So initial impressions for me are not good. I don't really want a big case. And it was one of the main drawbacks I had against the Bose Quiet Comfort 2024 earbuds. Those had a very thick case as well. It wasn't this squarish, so the overall footprint wasn't this big, but volume-wise, it was very thick, and it was also very poor quality. So I really didn't like those earbuds at all. But besides the size of the case, the one that I got seems to have this very highly reflective but kind of transparent top. So I don't know if you can see the little LEDs that it has inside as well. I don't think my camera can focus with all the reflections going on. But this case is a fingerprint and dust magnet as well. Like it's really hard to keep it clean. You have to always be wiping it off on something. Otherwise, it will just look dirty and have smudges on it all the time, right? Whereas this A40 earbuds case is made out of this like more solid matte black type material, which holds up really, really well. Like it doesn't collect fingerprints much at all. It doesn't get any scratches or anything. It's been very durable. I had these in my pocket for about 6 months with my car keys in the same pocket, and it looks almost good as new. This one, I'll be really scared to put in my pocket with my car keys. I'm pretty sure that this material gets scratched very easily, so I'm not even going to try that. So you open up the case by just sliding it upwards, which reveals the earbuds, and it has this small LED display as well. And the LED display, it actually has a little scroll bar here that you can change your ANC settings on, so you can reduce the ANC effect or strengthen the ANC effect. And I think it may let you do some other things as well. When you first open the case, it also, you can see it through the case. But when you open it, it tells you the battery level of each earbud. So they're both at 100% right now, right? Looks a little bit cool up front, but it's kind of gimmicky as well. Like I don't think I would ever use these slider controls, because I mean, you have your phone right next to you, presumably, unless you use these. Maybe if you use this with a laptop or a computer more often than your phone, then this might be useful, I guess, because you wouldn't have the app on your phone available to change the ANC noise settings and stuff. But if you're using these primarily with a phone, this is kind of useless, because once the earbuds are in your ear, presumably you're playing music or TV shows or things on your phone, so you can just as easily change the ANC settings on the app on your phone, which gives you even more controls and configuration. So I think this is really just like a sales gimmick or marketing gimmick. Like it looks cool, but it's not really useful. And I think if this is responsible for increasing the size of this case that much, I would rather just not have those things and just have like, this has very basic like 3 LED dots on the front that tell you the battery level of the case. and I've never really had any issue with that or wanted more than that. Once you connect the earbuds to your phone as well, again, the phone tells you the battery level of the case and of the earbuds as well. So you really don't need a display on the case. Um, and just the last thing about the case, I'll say as well, this lid, the way that it slides up, and because it's so big, once you open it all the way, um, I don't know how much I can trust the little hinge that's behind this. Like, I would feel slightly worried if I dropped this case. If I dropped it on the floor, I don't know if this hinge would survive. Um, so it feels a little bit flimsy to me. Although overall the case doesn't have, it has a little bit of a play, but not too much. So it's not terrible, but the size is not good. The material, I think, is going to get scratched, and it's a fingerprint magnet that I don't like. The LED displays and touch bar thing there is, cool for a minute or two, but then I think it's kind of useless. So I'm not a big fan of the case. Like, I don't consider this a better case than the much cheaper Soundcore A40s, which are half price or less than half price, depending on where you buy them from. So in the US, I think in the US, funnily enough, the retail price for these is $100, and the retail price for these is $129, I believe. So these are only slightly more expensive, at least according to retail price. Soundcore always discounts their stuff, so these are always about 45% off. So the true price in the US, they're about $45, whereas these ones, I don't know if they have many discounts yet because they're brand new. So these might be closer to, let's say, $100. So they kind of double the price in the US. And in Australia, the retail prices for this is listed as $250, and the retail price for this is listed at $129. So even the retail price is double in Australia. But then these are discounted again, so you can buy them for about $85, whereas these are not discounted currently. So they're like 3 times the price of the A40s. Just for comparison purposes, it's important to have a think about the price as well. So just considering the case alone, is this case worth 3 times more than this case? No, not to me. It's not. To me, this case is actually a better case because it's smaller, it's more durable, more resistant, and less gimmicky than this. So moving on, taking the actual earbuds out, as you can tell, and I'm sure you already know this, but these are stem earbuds, right? So they have this long little stem. You can probably see the pictures on websites and other videos much better than I can because my camera here doesn't really focus all that well. Whereas the A40s are the more traditional in-ear type earbuds. So they're not really comparable to each other. You're either a fan of stems or you're a fan of in-ear earbuds. I much prefer the in-ear earbuds. I think they give you a much better seal in your ear, depending on which buds. Like, you have to find the right buds that match your ear shape and size the best to get the best seal and comfort in your ear. And again, I've done many videos on the A40s. The A40s, somehow, for me, they happen to be the best fitting earbuds I've tried so far, even compared to much more expensive earbuds. So I really like these, and I've enjoyed using them for the last 6 months. Whereas with stems, for me personally, I don't really like stems. I've tried these on for about a week. They're not as comfortable for me. Like, it's that they don't get as good of a seal in my ear whenever I try them on. They tend to get dislodged fairly easily as well. It's a very shiny and smooth material as well, and I think that maybe contributes, like, especially if you're working out or there's a bit of sweat or moisture or high humidity in the air. I think they get dislodged a lot more easily. And also with stems, for me personally, I don't like stems. They always kind of feel a little bit off balance, because if you touch the stem bit even very, like, with very low pressure, right? Maybe because you're trying to use the touch controls, so you're like trying to change volumes or double tap or something. It causes a lever effect, right? Like, this part is in your ear. If you touch the bottom of this here, it's going to get moved around quite a lot, and it's going to dislodge it from your ear and break the seal that you had, which then worsens the sound quality and worsens the ANC performance on these. Or even if you're, like, I don't know, on the sofa at home and you turn your head, it's easy to touch these on something. Or if you're at the gym and you're using a towel to dry yourself a little bit, again, they get dislodged very easily. So I'm not a fan of stems at all. Moving on, another thing I found a little bit weird with these is that whenever I take them out of my ear, this silicone material that they come with seems to be like very very thin and overly flexible. So whenever I take it out of my ear, it always like flanges up like this, like an inverted umbrella in the wind, right? It happens pretty much every single time. I don't know why that is. I've never ever had that problem with the stock ear tips on the A40s. Maybe I think the size and the material is slightly different and a little bit more rigid. Whereas this one always flanges out, and then I like have to like manually readjust it and before I put it back in the case. It's not a major thing, but I just found it a bit odd. I haven't seen that on many other earbuds. I guess you can always try third-party aftermarket ear tips if you like foam tips or something else as well. So it's probably an easily fixable problem, but just just for stock out the way that they come out of the box, I found that a bit odd. I guess the main other thing to talk about is, well, how do these things actually sound, right? Because I guess that's why you're buying earbuds, to presumably listen to some music and maybe watch some podcasts or YouTube videos or doom scroll on TikTok or something, right? I had high expectations for these, given the marketing price difference, right? Because in Australia they're supposedly like twice as expensive as these. You would expect them to sound a little bit better, right? And I think even on the website, when you like read through the marketing material, like obviously it says the best of the best, and ANC performance is 98.5%, whereas these ones are 98%. I know the 0.5% makes no difference whatsoever, and I talked a lot about ANC in many of my other videos. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but ANC is full of false advertising and false claims, and all manufacturers do that. I think ANC performance is basically the same across most earbuds on the market, from Soundcore to Bose to Sony. I can't tell the difference in ANC between these two. I tried really hard switching back and forth for like over an hour, listening in various different environments, both with like fans on, with people speaking and that sort of thing, turning music on and off. I could not tell the difference between these two. Actually, I think these ones might be slightly better, and again, that's probably because they sit a little bit deeper in my ear and they don't get dislodged as easily. So I get a lot better passive noise isolation from these, and the ANC, like blocking out fans and that sort of stuff, is the same on both. Blocking out other frequencies is like non-existent on both, or as non-existent as everything else that I've tried, including the Sony WF-1000 XM5s and the Bose Quiet Comfort, and even some other headphones I've tried recently. So ANC, no difference. Don't believe marketing claims. Music quality itself, again, I've talked a lot about the A40s. The A40s don't really have necessarily the best music quality compared to other premium brands like the Sonys and the Bose. They sound, I would say, a little bit more compressed and a little bit less detail and less clarity, but the difference is quite small. So like you really have to do side-by-side comparisons and listen very intently to tell what the difference is. It's definitely not like these are half as good as the premium Sonys or Bose. It's not like that at all. Maybe there's a 10% difference in sound quality, at least to my ears, right? So it's very minor. Comparing these new Liberty 4 Pros, again, I think it's a similar sort of difference. I think the Liberty 4 Pros do have slightly like better sound quality. Again, it's just a little bit more clarity, a little bit more detail. It just feels a little bit more opened up in comparison to these, which seem to struggle in some specific frequencies. But then also, once you start playing around with the EQ settings in the app and change between a few different EQ profiles, you can kind of get the sound that you're looking for out of these anyway. Like, they're probably not going to blow you away as having the best sound you've ever like heard from the A40s. These ones might be, again, like, let's say 10% better than the A40s, just in my opinion. So they don't sound bad. They sound good. I think they compare quite well with other premium earbuds like the Sony 1000 XM5s and the Bose QC earbuds that I've tried recently. Having said that, the A40s are not bad either, and it's not that big of a difference. I don't think there's too much else left to talk about. Let me just put these back in the case. That was my review on the Liberty 4 Pros. Soundcore does have a 30-day sort of free returns trial period, so you can try some of their earbuds, and if you're not satisfied with the quality at the end of 30 days, you can return them to get your money back. So if you have no other way to try out different types of earbuds, I suggest you can try out this program that they have, and a lot of other manufacturers also offer similar free trial periods for earbuds. Because earbuds are a little bit difficult to test. Like, most stores don't have earbuds that you can try out due to hygiene and other sort of reasons like that. So this is kind of the only way that you can actually try them out. And earbuds are a very personal thing as well. Just because you're spending more money doesn't always necessarily mean you're getting something better quality or something that suits your ears and your ear shape and size better. So you do have to try them out. It's also very deceptive to go on forums, and some people are going to rave about the Liberty 4 NC and the Liberty 4 Pro and other brands as well, and everyone's going to have their favorite picks. But it doesn't mean that if you buy that same thing, it's going to work just as well for you. So you do have to try them out. So I'll leave it with that. I think between these two that I have, I'll always pick this one for myself as a personal preference and choice. I prefer the case shape. I prefer how they fit my ears. I don't like stems that much. This case is really shiny and a fingerprint magnet and just too big for me. The LED and touch controls here I find gimmicky and not that useful. And the sound quality and ANC are nothing particularly special on these compared to the A40.